Hey guys, Chris here with BustedKnuckleDIY, and today we're going to be doing a tune-up on a Dodge Dart. Let's get wrenching.
Oh hell, I can fix that. Honey! Can you bring me a Band-Aid, please?
Alright guys, sorry for the wind. It's definitely breezy out here today. Alright, we've got a 13 Dodge Dart SXT with the 2-liter motor in it. And we're going to start our tune-up by going ahead and doing the spark plugs in this thing. So let me show you what we got to do here. First, we have to take this big old cover off to access our coilovers to get to the plugs. So we're going to come around the back side. Okay, and just past the brake master cylinder here, there's an electrical plug. We're going to take that loose. Alright, that's for our mass airflow. And then we're going to lift up on that, and there we go. Hopefully you can see it down in there. And pop that loose there. And we're going to grab our 8mm socket. Come around over here to our clamp. You could use a screwdriver as well, but an 8mm socket fits it. Take our air hose loose. Just pull that back. Now there's 4 or 5, I can't remember which, friction lugs underneath this, but just lift up on it and give it a good pop there, and we can get the hose out of the way enough. And lift it out of there. Okay, so now that that's gone, this is a really easy process here, guys. You can see the coilovers, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, those are held in place by a 10mm bolt, so we're gonna take those out and use a ratchet with a long extension to go ahead and remove the spark plug. So let me get set up to do that, and I'll get right back to you. All right, so we're gonna get over here, put our 10mm on. These are not super tight, guys. All it does is hold the coilover in place. Be advised, the car is still pretty warm. He drove it up here today. So be extra careful not to get burned, or take proper safety measures and let your engine cool all the way off before you start doing this. Well, those are a little hot, not too bad. Now in some vehicles, there's enough cable, and it looks like we're going to have enough here. Just give that a wiggle. There we go. That comes out. Okay, what I was saying there is some vehicles do not have enough wire connected to the coilover to just pull those out and set them aside. A little more extension would be handy, but that's okay. Leave that on there. Oh. Now that I've got that popped loose, you should be able to unthread the spark plug by hand. And there it is. Well, a little oil on there. Anyway, let's get the new plugs, get those down in there, and we'll keep motoring. All right, so we got the old plug out, and what I did, I used a standard spark plug socket, okay, and that thing's got a rubber boot down in there that holds onto the spark plug. But I find it best when you put them back in to not use that kind, because the socket wants to hang onto the spark plug and can often stick and stay down in the head. So I'm just going to use a standard 5/8 socket to thread these plugs in here now. The factory gap on this plug is specified as 42 thousandths, so use a little gapper tool like this. They're available at any auto parts store. They're like $2. Get one, it's handy. I've probably got 50 of them floating around here somewhere. But go ahead and get your spark plug gap to the proper gap. And we're just going to drop it in there, feed our socket over, and just very slowly start hand threading that thing. You'll know when you get it started. And I can feel that starting to snug up, so that's good. There we go. That's hand tight. Put a ratchet in there. All right, guys, and one thing with spark plugs, don't over torque them. You know, quarter turn past snug is plenty on a spark plug. Do not get in here and just tighten these things down. One, you'll never get them back out again, and two, it's just completely unnecessary. So we're gonna go ahead and drop our coil back on, put our bolt in. We're gonna do the other 3 in the same fashion, and then we'll move on to some of the other parts of this tune-up. All right, now that the spark plugs are in, and this is the time when we still got the cover off because we've still got the air hose disconnected, we're gonna go ahead and remove this black hose from the air filter box. And it's got, again, you can use a screwdriver, but in this case, it's 8mm screws in it. And yes, they're about 20 miles long. Like that. What they need that for, I don't know. But most manufacturers do it. Alright. And those two, and it should kind of lift up and just slide out of there just like that. Here's the air filter that was in there. And yeah, I've seen way worse, but since we've got a brand new one, we're gonna go ahead and install it. All right, guys, now that we've replaced our air filter, let's go ahead and put our engine cover back on. And before we set it in place, here are those friction lugs, 1, 2, 3, 4, so we gotta get those lined up. The oil filler cap is gonna be helpful in getting it lined back up properly. Now we gotta kind of fidget it underneath the firewall a little bit there. That's in the ballpark. We'll go ahead and slide our hose on. That looks like it's in the neighborhood. All right, so that's on there. We'll give that a wipe. And make sure that our air hose is connected. I lied. Yeah, definitely 8mm. My bad, guys. I'm telling you tales. That's nice and snug. Don't forget to hook up the plug on this side for the mass airflow sensor. We don't want to forget about that. There we go. All right, so all that's done. Let's move on and do that cabin air filter. All right, guys, moving on to that cabin air filter. Now, you'll have to look up the specs for your specific vehicle. A lot of them are in here behind the glove box. I know GM loves to put them in behind the glove box. In this case, in this Dodge, it's in here behind this kick panel. So, what we're going to do, let me see if I can't move you around here. There we go. We're going to reach in here and get a finger, and it's just got clips on it. There we go. It pulls the panel. And let me take you off and move you in for the kill here. That's the cabin air filter box right there. Okay, so we're going to pull this screw out and put the new filter in, and we'll be good to go. All right, so we removed our one little screw. Guys, that is a 5.5mm, by the way, 5.5. All right, and the filter, you just kind of lift that up and shimmy that filter out of there. There we go. There's the little other end of the cover. Right there, kind of latches up in the top. And this one's pretty dirty. All right, and you see there, this came out of there in this orientation, so the flow on this is going to come through there. So you want the arrows pointing towards the back seat of the car. So we're going to grab our new filter. There we go, that's in there. All right, and it's really just that easy, guys. We're going to go ahead and put that cover back on and then get the oil change in this thing, and we will have completed our tune-up. All right, guys, so we got the car jacked up. We're getting ready to change the oil. So let me shimmy under here a little bit. All right, so as soon as you get past the plastic, when you crawl under, if you rotate up, there's the oil filter, okay? It's kind of hidden, but it's a little heat shield. You can't see it from the top, but it's in a great spot to change. Okay, and if we lay back down flat, come along here, there's the drain pan bolt. That is a 13 millimeter. So anyway, the first thing we're going to do is take our oil filler cap off the top to help let a little airflow so it drains smoother, and then pull this bolt, drain the oil, put the new filter in, and we'll be done. Alright guys, so we unscrewed the old oil filter, no problem. Here we have our new one. And pro tip, do not ever install an oil filter without doing this. Take a little oil on your finger or a rag if you're worried about getting dirty. And around the gasket of the new filter, lubricate that gasket up. Just like that. And you want to do that every time you're going to install a new oil filter. If you do not, you could have all kinds of issues. You know, possibly leaking, possibly the gasket peel out of the filter, and all kinds of bad stuff. So remember, always lubricate your gasket on your new filter. Anyway, we're going to screw this back on, fill this car back up with oil, and then see if all our hard work paid off, and see how it goes. Alright guys, we got it all buttoned up, filled back up with the proper amount of oil, our tune-up, so we did our spark plugs, air filter, cabin air filter, and an oil change on this car. Let's fire it up and see if it goes. Purrs like a kitten. Alright guys, purring like a kitten, so the last thing that we have to do here is reset the oil life monitoring system. So, what we're going to do, we're going to put the key in the ignition and turn it to the on position, but we're not going to start the car. Now, every automobile is different here. Some of them you can just go through the message and redo it. Let me pull the door to, and you should be able to see the message right there. Yep, it says oil change due. Hopefully you can read that. Yeah, there we go. So in this car's case, we're going to slowly push the accelerator pedal to the floor. 1, 2, 3 times. Right there, the thing came up and said no messages. We should be able to shut the key off now. And then go ahead and start the car. All right, and we have stored messages, no messages. So set that back to speedometer, and that's how you clear the oil life monitor on your 13 Dodge Dart. Yeah, guys, and so we have just completed the tune-up on our 13 Dart. It's running great. Hopefully you picked up a few things. This procedure is more or less, the basics of it anyway, are the same on just about any remotely modern automobile. But remember to look up the specs for your specific vehicle. Things like the oil required, the spark plug gap, where your cabin air filter might be, etc., etc. Look all those things up for your car. Do these at regular intervals, and you're going to get a long, happy life out of your automobile. Guys, if you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button. Turn on all notifications. We've got a lot more great content coming up for you. Give us a thumbs up. Hit us in the comments, and in the description box below, I will include links to our Facebook page and our email address if you want to drop us a line that way. Guys, till next time, this is Chris for Busted Knuckle DIY saying, keep wrenching.